This mouse might look familiar. If you watched my best MMO mouse video from last year, you'll remember I put the Corsair Scimitar Elite Wireless up against the Red Dragon M913. And at first glance, this looks like that same Scimitar mouse, but it's not. This is the brand new Scimitar Elite Wireless SE. Same shape, same style, but under the hood, there are some changes, and it can now double as a Stream Deck. Well, kind of. Now, before I get to review, just so we're clear, this isn't a paid review, but Corsair did send me this mouse to test. They're not paying me, they haven't seen the video early, and these are all my honest thoughts. In fact, I returned the last Scimitar I bought and they still sent me this new one. So I guess that shows some confidence in the changes that they made this time round. But let's see how it fares. So first impressions, if you've ever used the older Scimitar, you're going to feel right at home with this one. The shape hasn't changed at all, which isn't really a bad thing because it was already a solid design. At 114 grams, it's actually pretty light for a mouse this size. Sure, if you're into your ultra light FPS mice, this will feel clunky. But for an MMO mouse, it's pretty light and well balanced. It glides nicely and I haven't felt any wrist fatigue, even during long editing sessions. Now, comfort is always going to be subjective, so what works for me might not work for you. But for context, I have large hands and I use a palm grip. For me, this mouse works perfectly well, but if you've got smaller hands or prefer a claw style grip, you might find it a bit bulky. But that's kind of the deal with MMO style mice. They need to be a bit bigger in order to cram in all those extra buttons. Now, speaking of buttons, one of the standout features that's carried over from the previous Scimitar Elite is the Corsair's adjustable 12-button side keypad. There's a little screw at the bottom, and with the included Allen key, you can unlock and slide the entire keypad back and forth to get it just right for your thumb. Now, I praised this feature in my last review, and I still think it's a clever touch. It's not a must-have, but once you set it up, it does make the mouse feel more comfortable and natural to use. Now, pressing all the 12 buttons becomes easy enough, and you're not straining to reach the far end of the pad. It's one of those features that can seem a little bit gimmicky, but once you've tried it, you'll wish more MMO mice had it. The buttons themselves feel nice and tactile, they have a nice crisp click to them, no mushiness at all, which is exactly what you want when you're hitting these keys hundreds of times in a gaming session or while you're editing. And Corsair use textured buttons on every other row, which sounds like a small detail, but it makes a big difference. You can instantly feel which row you're on without looking down, and it's exactly what you need when you're mid-raid or mid-edit. Now, one thing I really like this time around is that Corsair has finally given us some colour options. The original Scimitar only came in black, but now you've got black and yellow, gunmetal, and this clean white version I've been using. The gunmetal is probably the closest to the original design, with a subtle metallic grey finish around the keypad and a yellow accent on the scroll wheel. The black and yellow version is much the same, but swaps out that grey finish for yellow. And then there's this white model, which completely changes the vibe. It's perfect for clean, minimalist desk setups, and it's nice to see Corsair step away from that traditional all-black gamer look with their first ever white Scimitar mouse. Connectivity hasn't really changed, and that's a good thing. You get a braided USB-C to USB-A cable in the box for charging or wired use, and the wireless dongle tucks away neatly underneath the mouse. There's also a physical power button that lets you switch between Slipstream wireless and Bluetooth, and having all three modes, wired, wireless and Bluetooth, means you're covered whether you're gaming, editing or just working across multiple devices. One of the biggest talking points of this new Scimitar Elite Wireless SE, and really its standout feature, is the Stream Deck integration. And I'll get into what that actually does in a bit, but first let's cover setup briefly because Corsair has now made it much easier than it used to be. You install the latest version of iQ, connect your mouse and then grab the Elgato Stream Deck software. Just make sure it's version 7 or later. Now, once it's installed, the mouse is detected automatically through iQ and shows up in Stream Deck with full native support. Now, with older versions of iQ and Stream Deck, you had to enable STK integration, install a plugin, and then go through extra steps to get them working together. On the latest versions, it's seamless, just connect, install, and you're ready to go. iQ is still your hub for lighting, DPI adjustments, and surface calibration. It's powerful, but I'll be honest with you, it's not the most intuitive piece of software out there. I've run into my fair share of bugs over the years, and while it's better now than it used to be, it's still not perfect. Okay, let's get to the feature that makes this Scimitar SE genuinely interesting: Stream Deck integration. Corsair owns Elgato, so they've now added Stream Deck integration right into this mouse. When you open the Stream Deck software, the Scimitar shows up right there ready to configure. You can map the side buttons as a virtual action bar, essentially turning your mouse into an on-screen Stream Deck. You get a 4x3 grid on your screen that matches the 12 buttons on the side of the mouse. You can map literally anything to these buttons: shortcuts, macros, app launches, streaming controls, you name it. And thanks to smart profiles, Stream Deck will automatically switch layouts depending on what app you're in. So open Photoshop, say for example, and your buttons will instantly become editing shortcuts. But you switch over to OBS and now you're controlling your stream. Perhaps zoom in or turn off your office accent lights, and you don't have to lift a finger to swap profiles, it just does it for you. And you can also hide it completely if you like. Both iQ and Stream Deck software have full Mac OS support. So if you're a Mac user, you're not missing out on any functionality. It's rare for a mouse like this to feel just at home on a Mac as it does on Windows, and that makes it even more appealing for creators. If you've been considering both a gaming mouse and a Stream Deck, then this setup could save you space and money by combining them both. It won't necessarily replace a physical Stream Deck, but it's a good alternative or even a great companion if you already have one. Not all MMO games have a clear visual key bindings, so the added Stream Deck functionality really shines with those kind of games. But where it stands out even more is with productivity, especially for things like streaming or video editing, where having all those shortcuts laid out visually can be a massive time saver. Corsair didn't just add software features here, they've upgraded the hardware too. The new Marksman S33K sensor now goes up to 33,000 dpi and 750 IPS, compared to the previous model's 26,000 dpi and 650 IPS. Now, will you ever need 33,000 dpi? Probably not, but it's nice to know you have the option. The optical switches are also rated for 100 million clicks, so this thing is built to last. Now, battery life has had a big jump as well. On Slipstream Wireless with RGB turned off, you can now get up to 150 hours compared to around 120 hours on the older version. But the real upgrade here is Bluetooth. It's gone from 150 hours to a ridiculous 500 hours. Now, sure, Bluetooth isn't ideal for competitive gaming because of latency, but for casual gaming, productivity, or just day-to-day office use, that's a mighty jump. You could almost forget to charge it for weeks. Now, the previous Scimitar wireless had two big complaints: iQ software being clunky and scroll wheel failures. Now, I've already talked about iQ. It's improved, but it's by no means perfect. As for scroll wheel, I personally never had issues, but a lot of people have over time, with problems ranging from reverse scrolling and skipping to complete failures. Now, I've been using the SE model for a few months now and haven't had any issues. And my brother's been using the wired Scimitar Elite for years without any problems either, so maybe we've just got lucky. But I'm hopeful Corsair has sorted out whatever was causing the problems before. Now, so far so good, but only time will tell. Price-wise, it's about the same as before, £119.99 here in the UK, or around $139.99 in the US. That said, I've already seen it on sale for closer to £90 or around $80 US, which is a decent saving considering this is both a high-end MMO mouse and doubles as a virtual Stream Deck. I think that's pretty reasonable. So a lot of people are going to ask, is this the best MMO mouse out there? And that's a tough call. The Red Dragon M913 is still a great option in my opinion, especially for its ergonomics and price, and I'd recommend considering it if your main focus is just MMO gaming. But Corsair has really stepped things up with this updated model. Between the upgraded sensor, improved battery life, solid build quality, and especially the Stream Deck integration, this mouse now stands out as much more than just an MMO mouse. There's still a bit of a question mark over whether the scroll wheel issues from the older model are completely fixed, and it's probably too early to say for certain, but so far so good. For me, this is one of the most versatile mice you can buy right now, and I'm a casual gamer and I love that it covers all my gaming needs, but it also saves me time when it comes to editing or working on creative projects. I don't actually stream myself, but I can see this being a huge win for streamers too. The virtual Stream Deck is a clever feature, whether you're using it as your first taste of Stream Deck functionality or adding it as an extra tool alongside a physical one. If you want a mouse that's not only great for MMOs, but also doubles as a serious productivity tool, it's definitely worth considering. Now, if you're interested in picking up a Scimitar Elite Wireless SE, I'll leave a link down in the description so you can check it out. Thanks for watching. If you liked today's video or found it useful, consider hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time, cheers.